Yes, second attempt. Maybe, hopefully, I'm going to be slightly less disjointed now. I've got me some coffee, I've got me some incense, and I basically wanted to come back out here again really quickly because everything is kind of relevant to me, with this whole operation, getting back in touch with people. It's at the moment, it's my dad again that I'm talking to, and that I spent, half an hour in the middle of the night moaning about. I actually feel a lot better for putting up that video because I feel like, I've been taught, and I tend to also personally kind of choose always to behave myself. So that's less authentic, that's less truthful, I'm afraid. And at 3:30 in the night, a lot of that filtering and editing and censoring in my brain is just all, parked in the distance somewhere, and what comes out is a lot closer to how I really feel. Only what comes out at those moments is what I need to say, what I need to express, okay, at that moment. And it's not the whole picture. Because as soon as I've done this, or as soon as I wake up again the next morning, it's like, yes, but there's also this point, there's also that point, there's also, he realizes, for example, that I'm showing courage doing this and taking the initiative, coming back to him, and all that. So, and I appreciate that because I'm a Leo, To me, being seen to be courageous, that makes up for almost everything in one go. Because if you tell me that you see me as a courageous person, which a couple of people have already done out there, and something that my husband tends to do, and people tend to know, who know me, tend to do that at some point or other, it makes me feel so much better. It's ridiculous, but yeah. So I had several thoughts about, coming back out a bit sooner than normal, really. This afternoon I'll be at my volunteer job also again, so I won't be filming, and it will probably be best for me to not film until next Monday. That's just more or less the idea I've got at the moment. And because I'm still rather pooped, and it's November, and there's, other things happening, and things that need to be considered. I kind of felt that saying the things as they were at that time, as they are, basically, yes, things change. One of the good things in this discussion or this conversation that I'm having with this parent of mine, whatever that really means, is that people change, and change is constant. Change is the only constant, really. And my mum and her father, that I knew most of my life growing up, they were both Taurus sign people, really true to the patent type Taurus. So both of them, so they got on each other's nerves a lot because they triggered and mirrored each other like no end. But they weren't into the idea that anything changing was a good thing. Neither of them really, I don't know, really got the memo. I think to them, which is why they also held on to grudges for so long. They just couldn't let go of things. And because the only family that I grew up consistently for those 28 years, basically, with those two, there weren't enough other relatives. So that makes me for, and I've hated this. I've seen at some point my greatest, earliest epiphany, I should say, as to people are different, people are all different, and people are in different stages in things and all that, has come when I think my mother was still alive. I'm not completely sure. I may have been 25 or something like that. It may also have been later. Hang on a second, let me try to think. Because I went into that when I lived in that particular house, and that was after 91 at least. So yeah, I think 25 was that I got into astrology. So that's basically what I want to also go into for just a bit, just to remember this and just, tell you what astrology did for me. And I may have already said a couple of these things before, doesn't matter. It was a humongous amazement to me that to find out that you could actually point out in people's natal charts how they were different. And so it was a given. All of a sudden, what I'd kind of suspected all my life, that people are really different. It was all of a sudden, it was a given. It was just, basically what the whole thing was about. And, yeah. So I found out that my mum and her planets, her Mercury and all that, she had a different outlook on life. She had a different approach to things from me. And I did not need to follow her outlook in any way necessarily. I could just look at things and try to, figure out my own opinion, my own position, things like that. That was really new to me, and I was 25, when I got to do that type of thinking. Before that, you would have said, I didn't have any character at all. I didn't have any. I had a couple of preferences, and there were a couple of things that I was fond of. But moving house all the time, not connecting to people enough, and all that, it was really screwed up. And I was very passive, very what's the word? I just couldn't, I'm still dragging that around with me, basically. The assumption that I need to just be passive and inert. That was the word I was looking for. So, no joy there. And it's not me. It's not who I am. I tend to be, I'm a Leo. I tend to be lazy-ish, and I only go to work when I see the point or when things are relatively efficient. And then I can do quite a bit of work. And I'm really proud of myself afterwards, which is, feels good. My Mercury is in Leo as well, by a smidge. So there's a great difference. And that's basically what I keep coming back to all the time. And just, chatting to the phone here, chatting to the world out there. Often it's about Mercury because, like I said, my Mercury is gone through Cancer. It's basically still on the critical degree. So the end, beginning, 0 degrees, what was it? 34, 41, something like that, minutes of an arc. So it's less than a degree into the sign of Leo. So I'm not completely sure how comfortable I am considering my Mercury, the way I analyse the world, the way I analyse things in what's natural to me. That's what Mercury does. I can tell the difference immensely between people where their Mercuries are. And so there's 12 positions, 12 signs, at least. And a lot more can be said, of course, but that's just already so much information in that. So, I'm thinking of things completely random, and it's just a mess in my brain, really, and I'm still tired and all that. But I also wanted to point out again that speaking the truth, even though it's hard and even though you're kind of ashamed and you don't want to hurt other people, is still a very good idea. And yeah, I am surprised at how much of a good idea it is and has been for me to stick on this channel and stay the same channel, and everybody is welcome to watch this. And this is what you're gonna get. So I'm sorry sometimes that I'm less completely cheerful and happy and so on, which is a thing my dad mentioned. And I can see where that's coming from. It's okay for me to hear him say that. And it's just what you see is what you get, basically. So I'm, gonna finish my coffee, have my tea and all that, and continue watching Lisa and Peggy because they're hilarious and hysterical, and that's okay. It's settling down, and we're in a new world, basically. Yeah. So that's the most amazing bit of all this, is that speaking the truth. That's there for us, slowly, bit by bit. There's a new world coming out. And turns out that was possible all along. Yay. Yay us. So thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking along, coming along for the ride all this time. And I can't wait to stick my dad in front of the camera and see what happens. Because that's funny. Ciao guys. See you soon. Bye bye for now.